Episode 2 of Brothers Celeste coming to you live after a 2-0 loss to Portugal. And let's just, let's just get right into it because I'm sure we both have a lot to be upset about after another really disappointing performance. It comes with a 2-0 loss, which puts you in a really bad position now going forward. But I'll start where everybody wants to start when they're talking about this Uruguay team after that loss, which is Diego Alonso and his starting 11 and then the substitutions he made later. So, first half, ends 0-0. Uruguay had the best chance. It was Betancourt who played a really good game, actually, and he's unable to get it by the Portugal goalkeeper. And then that was really it for Uruguay in that first half. But the starting 11, Danny, what happened there? I mean, this was supposed to be the director técnico that was going to come in, play an attacking style, the técnico that was going to go away from what Tavares did for all those years and finally utilize youth and utilize the possibilities that Uruguay has playing forward and playing attacking. And he comes out with 5 in the back. He starts Golin again with Coates, and then Portugal gets the goal. I mean, what a disaster. Seriously, what an absolute disaster.
Absolutely. I mean, really, that's really the only word that you can describe the game is an absolute disaster, unfortunately. But like you said, you look at the starting 11, and it's kind of like what's going on. It has nothing to do with what we saw in the last 4 games of the qualifying stage, and you really got to start to think is what happened to that Alonso that we saw, like you said, that was more offensive in the those last 4 qualifying games. Why are we playing that 5 in the back and not allowing Bentancur and Valverde the ability to go up and attack and press? We saw in the second half when they had the ability to do that, we had more chances. We'll probably get into the second half here shortly, but we saw a couple of good subs that kind of gave the team life. Overall, though, I mean, a poor first half, but again, we stayed in the game, which is what you want to be in. And then you get unlucky with that goal in the second half.
Yeah. Ronaldo celebrating the goal when maybe like a that much of his hair, maybe that much. Let me see if I can aim the camera right. I mean, the goal wasn't his. And whatever. I don't want to do the let's rip Portugal because at the end of the day, whether it was a penalty, whether it wasn't, shouldn't have been called a penalty, which I'm sure we both agree that's a questionable one. Like obviously it was a handball, obviously, but that's not supposed to be a penalty because it's his supporting hand that he's falling on. And I guess because it denied the advantage to the player who got the ball through, I guess the referee decided to give them a penalty. Like, I get it, but I think most people would agree that shouldn't be called anymore. That rule's been changed where just because your hand touches the ball in the box doesn't automatically mean it's a penalty. Like, there's context to every play. But whatever. At that point, like, whatever. We can get to that later. The substitutes in the second half, you could argue after that there was a 20-minute stretch starting with Pelistri down the right side and his ability to create there, and then the Arrascaeta touching the ball. He leaves one for Maxi Gomez, who Maxi thought it was in, like he was already celebrating the goal.
So was I.
That
So was
would have been a game changer. That was, what I said at the bar I was watching it at. But whatever. That's the team we expected. You could argue that 15-20 minutes of Uruguay pressing, attacking, creating opportunities, being on the being the aggressor in the game. You could argue that was the best 20 minutes we've seen from this team in the World Cup. And not only that, but they were the better team in those 20 minutes by far. Portugal had no answer to what Uruguay was able to do in the final third, and just using Valverde and Betancourt and their playmaking ability, it was what we wanted to see. I don't understand how he can go from 4 games in the qualifiers to using these pieces that Uruguay has to play that style, and then come into a game where, okay, I get it, you're not technically out of it. this wasn't desperation mode. You didn't need this victory, but to come out and play defensive, to come out and play like you want to get a tie here against Portugal to set yourself up in a better spot, I guess, against Ghana, which is a team you feel like you're going to be able to win, even though Uruguay is yet to score a goal in the World Cup. So I don't know where you're feeling that way. At the end of the half, I'll be honest, at the end of the half, like you and I both interact with Warriors of Uruguay. It's this Twitter account the guy who runs it does a really good job at following along all the Uruguayan players and always talking about the games. And he asked, how's everybody feeling? And obviously everybody is upset because Uruguay failed to control possession basically at all in that first half. It was basically, contragolpe, pelotazo, like just playing old school Uruguayo. And I came away from that first half saying, okay, his tactic was let's be solid in the back, let's be squared in the back, and we'll play counterattack and the opportunities will come. And I didn't necessarily hate it at the time because I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe this was our best chance to beat Portugal because you got the best chance in the half, and Portugal really didn't have legitimate goal scoring opportunities in the first half. I mean, they controlled possession, obviously, because you play 5 in the back, and that was your tactic. But then when I see these substitutes come in and I see how Uruguay performed with the Arrascaeta playing in the middle, him finding Suarez, I see Pelistri just being a total game changer going down the right. And I see the way Valverde was finally able to get space and just be a monster. And the way Betancourt was also able to recover, defend, and use that 1-2 between him and Valverde to advance the ball. You've got to wonder, Alonso's sitting there saying, what the hell did I do? Like, I just squandered an insane opportunity here where we could have started that way and been on the attack and shocked Portugal today because they, again, credit to Portugal. I'm not doing a thing where, we're ripping them or whatever, because at the end of the day, sometimes it takes luck to win games. And that first goal was basically just luck. It was a cross. Nobody touched it. I don't think it's Rochet's fault, by the way. He's expecting Ronaldo to make contact, so he dives to the right, which is where the ball would have gone. Ronaldo whips. It ends up in the back of the net. I mean, whatever. How many times have Uruguay benefited from lucky goals as well? So, but yeah, then they get the penalty. So they didn't really have any actual opportunities where, they had good combinations and good touch and found themselves in a position to score. There was one play where I think they, Coates came up to defend. He misses and they had a shot go wide. I forgot who took it, but maybe it was whatever. But, they never had actual plays that you felt pressured by. They weren't able to do anything against Uruguay's defense. So Alonso has to be thinking to himself, what the hell? Like, I could have been playing this way that we saw in the second half. We could have dominated this game from the very beginning. And rather than doing that, you trot out Vecino, who played just such a mediocre to bad performance. And then you play with 5 defenders. Like, what happened here? What did he talk with Tavares last night? Did they Zoom? Well, we know they didn't Zoom because there's no way Tavares knows how to use Zoom. So, like, what happened? They sent him a stupid telegram and told him defensivo, jugada de defensa. I don't understand it. It's so frustrating because you see that 20 minutes of really good quality where Uruguay's pressuring, and you felt if that penalty isn't called, you feel like Uruguay is able to break through at some point. Like Suarez had his opportunity. It was a tough, spot where he has to settle, turn, quickly take a shot. Like, I mean, he should make it. It's Suarez. But, and then, Darwin Nunez, he keeps trotting him out there and nothing from Darwin. I want him to succeed. I want him to be, the next bright young Uruguayan that takes over the Premier League. And I want him to be the next coming of age superstar in Uruguay along with Valverde. Like, we want that. But I don't understand what he's doing where he's relying on this tactic with these types of players, and it's literally coming out to nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, I was really expecting him to move to more of like a 4-2-2-1 formation where you're, around the back, I thought Matias Oliveira played okay. I would have been okay with a Coates and a Josema pairing. I would have been okay with a Godin Josema pairing. I thought Godin was fantastic in the first game. I read a lot of reports, and a lot of folks on Twitter, saying that they played defensive and they protected Godin. I don't really think that. I think Godin actually played a really really good game the first game, and I think our defense played well this game. I just don't
Yeah,
think it was necessary to play five in the back. And I think we saw that in the second half. And like I said, I would have much rather preferred to play, a 4-1-2-2-1, where, you could have seen an Ugarte who plays in the Portuguese league and has experience, playing against some of these players, kind of play that five, and allow, our two guys like Bentancur, Valverde, to just get out there. And maybe you could have seen the Arrascaeta from the beginning, and pair him up with maybe a Pelistri, or even with a Nico de la Cruz, who we've yet to see in the World Cup. Um,
crazy. That's crazy.
it's absolutely it is absolutely crazy. And then you can you can pair those guys up with a Darwin up at 9, or Cavani, who again, didn't really do much today. He did kind of the similar thing that Suarez did last game. So I mean, it's really tough, the formations that we're seeing out of here. I mean, you really see some of these guys, really putting everything into it, and it's really disappointing to walk away with a 2-0 loss there. I really felt it, this morning going into today. I thought we were going to win 2-0. I said that I was expecting a goal from Suarez, and a second one from, if I remember correctly, I said the Arrascaeta or Valverde. But we didn't get it. We didn't get it today. So
Yeah.
the
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I mean, I think you saw really good performances on the field. Like we can credit Betancourt. I mean, that was masterclass from him in the middle. Really, the yellow card at the very beginning was stupid. I don't I don't know why he's putting La Plancha into somebody 7 minutes into the game or whatever. And
typical Uruguayan, typical
yeah,
Uruguayan.
but I mean the rest of the game. I mean, and you could tell why they came out like a dar patadas. Like they came out ready to just mess with Portugal, get in their heads, pressure, play physical. And then I really didn't mind the idea of not controlling possession in this game. Like to me, that's not important for Uruguay. What's important is utilizing each possession that you do have and each opportunity you do have, and approaching those possessions with, hey, we need a score here like right now. This has to be the goal. And getting into the final third and looking for the foul, or but to just come out, defend 100%, and just play pelotazo. And if that's your style, why not start Suarez? Who's your point man? Who can bring down the long passes and then create from there? Like that's not Cavani's game. Cavani's game is send him a long ball and let him beat the defender, let him get around the defender, or be a point man, but somebody who can get across to him. But every time Cavani's in the box, Uruguay can't get there. Or anytime Cavani once again is having to come all the way back to half field to get the ball, and when he turns, Darwin's on the other side making a run, and there's 4 defenders, collapsing on him. So that's not his game. So it's just it is so frustrating because you feel like you really missed out on an opportunity here, and while after watching that second half, as I said, you can play a different style. That like to sum up this game, you can play a different style. There's no reason to revert back to the Tavares tactics, which is defend and defend for your life, and you go back to it. It doesn't make any sense. Like Alonso was here to not be that guy, to be a totally different guy, and you know, it's just mind numbing. It's frustrating. It's hard to understand why he would approach this game like that. And then once you're down 1-0 now, because whatever, a goal gets scored on you, now you want to start making these substitutions and play that style. and it's frustrating because you could have done it from the very beginning. But all right, we move forward here, or before we move forward, I want to talk about individual performances because there's a couple guys who balled, and we should commend them for it. I'm gonna start with the two backs, the two laterales. Varela, partidazo. Like he's legit. No reason why Cáceres should have played the other day. Like he's clearly comfortable enough to play in these situations. I know it's his World Cup debut when he subbed on, but the dude's obviously a baller because today I thought he played very well. And you can say the same about Matias Oliveira, another guy who those two for me. If you start next game against Ghana, and I imagine we're going to see a very different lineup. I imagine it's going to be Coates or Godin with Josema, and then it's going to be Varela again on the right and Oliveira again on the left. Like to me, perfect. That should be your starting back four if that's what you want to play, because those two, in my opinion, played really well. Like they understood what they had to do, and they made really good attacking and supporting runs. They're both able to touch the ball. They're both able to make the crosses that you need to make. So, in my opinion, both played a very good game.
I agree. I 100% agree. Around the back line, like I said, even when we started in the back five, I think all five played well. When Godin came off, things got a little crazy because we started to go up. But
Yeah, I
overall,
mean,
like you said, Matias Oliveira, world class performance. And then again, Guillermo Valera played very well. Coates played, average game and an average game from
uh,
Josema.
if you're looking for one person to criticize, I mean, Coates at times may have found himself out of position, but I mean, it's not like they were playing, Mexico. I mean, they were playing a good Portuguese team who, by the way, at the very beginning, trying to penetrate Uruguay's back line, were
Right.
doing a really good job at using Ronaldo, who I thought was washed, and they played a good game. Like they were able at times to get in to what Uruguay was doing and penetrate and make some good attacking runs. It just didn't work out for them because Uruguay is so good when they're playing, that tight in the back. But as we move forward, I talked about it. Valverde and Betancourt. I mean, Valverde is on another level. The dude is playing on another. He's clearly by far the best player on this national team, and it's not even close. But Betancourt has been playing really well in Tottenham, and today, I mean, you could say he was the player of the game for Uruguay.
Absolutely, man of the match.
Yeah,
Not a doubt in my mind. I'm going to disagree with you on the Valverde thought there. I don't think he played that great of a game today. I think I really think the guy who held down the middle was Bentancur. I would really love to see a different midfielder in there with Valverde and Bentancur the next game. I think that would allow Valverde the opportunity to get out there. But he had a much better second half than he did first half. That I will give him credit. Second
yeah.
half he came out to play, but first half was just that same kind of defensive hold, wait in the back kind of Valverde that we saw in the first
But
half against South Korea.
yeah, but to me the difference is there was space for him to get the ball and make those runs. Like in the first half, you have no opportunity for him to play attacking football because every time Uruguay got possession, it was in their defensive area, and it was just pelotazo, and you were just hoping Cavani or Darwin would be able to control it and then find him. But by the time they're finding him, there's three defenders on him. So I get what you're saying. I mean, he obviously had a better second half, but man, anytime he has the ball in space, he made that pass to the Arrascaeta where the Arrascaeta, before he even passes a defender or even anticipates the run, the ball is exactly where it needed to be. It was beautiful. But Vecino, I mean, once again, we're doing the Vecino thing again, where
I know.
you
It's
you
it's
play
just
him you play him because he's safe and he gives you what you need, which is somebody who's going to play smart and come back and defend and not make any mistakes. But going forward, there's just not much there. There's
I
just
mean,
not.
it's just so exciting to see some of these guys play together. You see Bentancur, you see Valverde, the Arrascaeta. They're playing kind of like this new style of football, of soccer, where it's basically 1-2 touches, play quick, look for the quick spaces, kind of like a tiki taka type of, I guess if you want to put it. And you've got other guys, unfortunately, in this formation that are just not ready for that type of play, and they kind of slow down the formation. So you have a Vecina who's going to slow that down. You've got a Cavani who eventually could slow that down, and those are the issues I think that we're finding in our formation and in our lineups.
Yeah. What about? I mean, we talked about Darwin and Cavani. Again, I think that was more. At least with Cavani, it's more. Um, you know, cause from the formation that we played, because I don't see how Diego Alonso is setting up that formation and saying this is something that is going to work for Cavani. To me, I don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you have another take on it, but as far as Darwin goes, like, to me, he's not there yet. He's
Yeah.
not he's not ready to play with a team that isn't loaded around him, that can just find him up top like Liverpool, and playing it for the national team is totally different. It's totally different than playing in Portugal, or playing in the Premier League, where you're going to get ample opportunities. And it seemed like every time he got the ball, he didn't really know what to do with it. So I said it earlier. I wanted to work with him, and I think he has a bright future. But right now, I don't see how you could start him again against Ghana.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know. To be 100% honest with you, I think Alonso's gonna go with what's the good and the old, and I think he's gonna end up starting Suarez and Cavani is what I think
Me
he's gonna
too.
go with. But to be honest with you, yeah, I mean, the forwards, I think you and I talked about it, offline, prior to the World Cup. We weren't really sure about the forwards that he brought. We had possibly talked about someone like El Canario Alvarez, who had played at Peñarol and is now has moved on to the I believe to Genoa and over in Italy. We have a Martin Satriano, and so we have all these other forwards that we could have possibly brought, but we end up with Suarez, Cavani, and Maxi Gomez, who he could have had the
The goal
tying
of his
goal
life.
today, right,
Yeah, the
right,
goal of his
and
life.
and it would have happened. So, but I mean, the good news, like you said, is we hold our destiny in our hands, and all we have to do is beat Ghana.
So I mean,
Um,
sort of, not really, because all right, Portugal has the group locked up, essentially, right? Like in terms of having the number one spot. I guess technically Ghana could beat Uruguay by whatever X amount of goals, and they could overtake them in goal average, but or goal differential. But for all intents and purposes, what does Portugal have to gain by going out there and risking their starters? In my opinion, they don't. So I'm not saying they're going to play a total, revamp their lineup and start 11 subs. You don't do that in a World Cup, right? Obviously, but I could see a situation where Portugal is benching Joao Felix. Like, why put him out there? Neves has a yellow card, so he probably won't play. Bruno Fernandes just scored 2 goals. Ronaldo. I could see a situation where Portugal isn't starting with their starting 11 that we saw in the last 2 games.
yeah,
So if South Korea isn't a pushover, we know that. And yes, I'm with you. We control our own destiny in the sense that you beat Ghana, you feel good about advancing. You feel good about it, and then what awaits us after that. You know, I don't even want to think about it. But um, going into Ghana, well, and before we get there, really quickly, the Arrascaeta, I think we both agreed, came in, played a really solid, whatever it was, 20, 22 minutes that he came in, or whatever. Suarez had more opportunities and was more impactful in those final 20 minutes, 25 minutes than Cavani and Darwin Nunez were in 65 minutes. So I think it's obvious he's going to revert back to Suarez for the next game. At least I think so. And then Pelistri was also another one of these guys that came in and played great. The only sub that and he only played whatever it was, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, but Matia Viña came in and was just all over the place.
I,
Couldn't find his footing.
I
Never
didn't
really got
really
settled in. Yeah,
I didn't really understand that sub. I mean, maybe he was trying to save Matias Oliveira, the last 10 minutes for the next game.
or
Or
keep him from getting a red card
right,
because
because he was on a yellow.
he
So
was on a yellow early, and then right to start the second half, there was a dangerous foul where I think it was against Neves, who ended up getting subbed off,
right.
or ended up later on getting subbed off. But it was a questionable. I guess that was Betancourt, but there was a questionable foul from Neves or from Oliveira right to start the second half. We were saying, "What are you doing? Yeah,
Yeah.
you're on a yellow card, bro. What are you doing?"
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, well, I mean, we'll see what happens in the next game. But like you said, if we can beat Ghana, I think you got to feel good about advancing, and we don't have to talk about it. We can, but that next round, if we do advance in that second place, would be against
Brazil.
yeah,
Yeah, that's why I don't even want to think about it because
amarela. I'm ready for that,
you're
and
crazy. I
what.
mean, anybody who actually feels that way is crazy because Uruguay is yet to score in this World Cup. Yet to score. Think about that. 2 games now, and you've had opportunities. You've hit the post, but bottom line, Uruguay is yet to score in this World Cup, and Ghana has scored 4 goals now. They beat South Korea 3-2, and they scored one against Portugal. So I think so. I mean, I don't know why you feel so confident right now.
I don't know. I just always feel confident about Uruguay. I think we have the right players.
Scored two against Portugal. That's right. 3-2 was the final score against Portugal.
3-2.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. See, and that's okay. And that's the beautiful thing about soccer. Nobody thought that Saudi Arabia was going to come out and beat Argentina, and they won 2-1. Nobody thought Japan was going to come out and beat Germany, and they won 2-1. And look, Germany might be on the verge of being out on the group stage. I think that's 2 World Cups in a row, and they're ranked in the top 10 of the world.
Or
And
they beat, I think they beat Japan, or Japan beat them last year to eliminate them. I think it was in the knockouts, but yeah.
could have been, but still, I
Yeah.
mean, you're talking about, I mean, and it's the World Cup and it's beautiful. So, I mean, you know me, I'm gonna say, we're gonna beat Ghana. I'm gonna say we're gonna win, 3-1. And I think if Suarez does start, I think he's gonna have 2 goals. It's gonna be Suarez's game,
I
and
want whatever you're on, bro. All right. What are you think that what are the changes here? Let's get into it so we can wrap this up. We're already almost at 30 minutes. What are the changes here? I think we both agree 4 in the back. If he comes out with 5 in the back against Ghana, I'm just turning it off. I mean I'm not watching that, but I think it'll be 4 in the back. I said Varela and Matias played great, so I hope he stays with that. Obviously, Betancourt and Valverde are going to play. There's no
absolutely,
questions there. I think he learns from his mistakes. You start, even if it's the unconventional 4-4-2, where like the Arrascaeta's technically on the left, but really he's playing more attacking. I think you do that, and I don't, the second center back next to Josema is interesting because Ghana, they bring speed and they bring obviously aggression as well, but they're very forceful and they're a strong team. Coates, he is a little slow, but I think if your other option is Golin, I don't think that's any better, and I don't think Araujo is going to play. So I guess you have to start with Josema and Coates, and just hope that they play solid enough, and Josema is able to support Coates as much as possible. But Oliveira and Varela are perfect for that because they both show speed and they play with that garra that you want. And I think he starts. I think he starts with the team we saw today in the second half, which was the Arrascaeta and Pelistri on each side. You keep Betancourt and you keep Valverde right in the middle, and you let Betancourt and Pelistri kind of play up, and then the other guys play down and support when you need to. And I'm with you. I think he starts Suarez and Cavani. I really do. I think he goes back to it.
yeah. I mean, I think the back four, just like you said, Oliveira, Coates. Josema and Varela give you the best chance. Of course, Rochette in the goal. In the middle, I'm going a little bit different than you. I kind of want to see a different look in Uruguay, and I kind of want to see Ugarte play. I would love to see a five, an Ugarte, maybe an Ugarte or Torreira, somebody that's gonna kind of clog that middle up, and like I continue to say, allow Valverde and allow Bentancur to go up and to be that traditional box to box, midfielder that they are. And then just above them, I would love to see a Georgian de Ascarreta and a Nico de la Cruz. And then up top, I mean, really at this point, I say let's give it to the boys. Let's give it to the boys and let's start Darwin at this point. And let's see what they can do. And let's see what the young guys can do. It's the future. It kind of reminds me of the 2002 World Cup, Korea Japan, when we played Senegal, and it was 3-3, and Forlan had a beautiful goal, and some of the young guys played. So that's what this reminds me of. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I just can't see. And by the way, I'd like to make the point that no matter what happens here, I'm going to enjoy this game because, for all intents and purposes, it's probably the last time we'll see Godin if he gets in, and it's probably the last time we'll see Suarez and Cavani in a Uruguay jersey. So at least in a World Cup, on this stage. So for me, like I I find it difficult that he won't start at least one of them, but I can see what you're saying. I don't think he'll make that drastic change where he'll change up the formation. But I don't dislike the idea of having like that cinco in there and just letting these two go up. I don't dislike that at all. But I just think you get enough support on both sides with Varela's ability to go up and obviously Matias Oliveira is playing out of his mind right now. That I don't think he'll do it, but I'm with you. But keep that in mind. Suarez and Cavani's last World Cup, last maybe opportunity to play with Uruguay. Maybe Suarez will play in like that Forlan role for a couple more years during the qualifiers. But I don't think so. I think this is it.
I think
So
this is it. So if you're a Uruguay fan, I mean, and look, if we're winning at the end, and it's kind of like I said, a 3-1, or if we're losing or something, don't be surprised.
the mega sub, Godin,
Yeah,
Suarez, Cavani.
yeah, if you get a Muslera in there, because could possibly be Muslera's last game in a Uruguay uniform as well.
Yeah.
We don't even know when qualifiers are going to start next time. We don't know when the next Copa America is. So, this could be it for those four.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I guess 5 counting Cáceres. So,
Start them all. F it. Start them all. Bring back Lugano. Bring back the whole 2010 team. What's Russo Perez up to these days?
Hey, he's coaching. He's coaching right now. So,
Yeah.
but hey, he's actually he's coaching in the young divisions of Uruguay. So
Yeah.
there you go.
All right, this was episode 2. We appreciate we know this is a very niche content right now, but I'm sure there's a lot of Uruguayos like us living in the States or maybe back home in Uruguay who speak English and maybe want to just get a different perspective on some of these games from some Uruguayos living in Miami. So we appreciate you if you're watching these videos. Obviously, subscribe to our channel and our format's a little messed up. For whatever reason, I can't get my Twitter handle below, so that's why my brother has it. But listen, we're very low budget here, all right? So we're trying to make it work, but appreciate everybody who's watching and obviously follow us on social media, whatever. Good or bad, we'll react to the final game on Friday after it happens, and hopefully it's Uruguay beating Ghana, Portugal tying or beating South Korea, and then we live to fight another day, and then we'll worry about maybe the Maracanazo part 2 when that time comes. So until then, appreciate everybody who tuned in. I'm arriba la Celeste, and we'll talk to you Friday, hopefully after Uruguay's first goal and first win of the 2022 World Cup.
Uruguay nomás.